Okay, all right, so like most things I find myself in, I've decided to go all the way with this now. So I got to break this down to get these axle flanges out, and that's fine. So at that point I'm going to replace all the seals, clean the pinion yoke and the axle yokes, and pull the, to do that I got to pull the rear cover, so I'm going to replace the gasket, clean all this up, blah, blah, blah. So this is kind of interesting. Again, this is a Dana 36, not a 44, it's a 36. You can tell because it has a bolt in the center of the rear cover here. Other than that, they look very similar. There's some more ribs and things on a Dana 44 through here. This was what, this is again from a 98 Corvette. And this is the rear end that was typically used with automatic transmissions. So I'm going to break this down. Thought you might want to come along for the ride on this one. I've never taken one of these apart before, but I don't expect it to be all that difficult. So let's dig in. Okay, first things first, we're going to take off the old pinion yoke. Now, they say to always replace this nut. It's not reusable. It's a kind of a one-shot deal. So we will do that. I ordered a new one. Apparently I don't need the puller. So that was anticlimactic. All right, so I'm going to put this in the tumbler, but I'm probably going to tape off the seal surface. And to be honest, this surface does not look great, but it's not leaking, so it must be all right, or close to all right. Uh-oh, bucket. Crap. That'll be a fine mess to clean up later. Yes, you should probably, pro tip, drain the rear end before, drain the rear end housing before you do this. Okay, so these two pieces will go in the tumbler overnight. Now, what am I going to do to drain that further? I might be able to take advantage of this table. All right, let's see what we can do here. Get some speedy dry on that situation in a minute. And for right now, I think I can flip this up. Huh! Wicked. Okay, so this is regular synthetic lube, but it has some differential additive in it. Limited slip additive. So it doesn't look bad. Looks pretty clean. Okay, next step, pull the rear housing. So we'll whip this right off here. We'll clean these bolts tonight too. I like to throw all the bolts in the tumbler overnight and give them a quick tap with the old bead blaster and then powder coat the heads. Just makes for a nice clean setup when you put it back together. All right. Oh yeah. Coming out of there better now. Woohoo! Look at that. Looks like actually some cardboard shims of some sort, maybe fiberglass. For the springs. Knock those off since we're not using that. Yep. Still stuck on there. Okay. Now, I should be able to spread that apart. just like to use a thin scraper, although this looks like there's a pry point right there. And there it goes. Okay. That back up on there so it's not. There we go. All right, bat wing off. Okay, no gasket. I did buy a gasket. Looks like, I don't know, somebody may have been in here. There's no metal chips. Pinion ring gear looks really good. Yeah, everything rotates fine. Now I'm not going to take apart everything here. Let me get you in here, show you what I'm into. So there's a small E-clip that holds each one of those little drive flanges in, that ties it back into the spider gear, and hence the limited slip. All right, so I am going to pull those out and we'll see what we get. Okay, so in this pinion, in this differential housing, it's one thing I've noticed, and I don't know if this is important or not, but the drive flanges are off by 45 degrees. I don't know if that's a thing or if it even matters. Probably shouldn't matter, but I'd almost expect them to be 90 degrees off if it did matter. But either way, okay, so I've got the ring kind of slid around here so I can get it. Hopefully you can see with my mitts in here. This is a big ring. I'm not sure these pliers I got are big enough for this, but we're going to give it the old college try, assuming they stay together. What's happening here? Okay. Okay, now just gonna, yeah, these suck. These were my dad's. Probably bought them at the fair or something, as he tended to do. Oh, it's a good deal. Yeah. Okay, oops. I don't think these are big enough. Just kind of working it off the groove. Slowly, patiently, don't break it. Or I'll be buying new E-clips. Some guys are saying you should do that anyway, but I didn't come across that information until it was way too late. Whoops. Come on now. I'm just gonna grab another screwdriver and a small mallet. Nope, wrong. Okay, let's try this. I can get behind it, it just doesn't want to spring back on me until I do that. There it goes. Oh, nope, snap back on. Duh. Okay. Oh, almost. They weren't wrong when they said this is a little fiddly. Yeah, I think I like the old C-clips and the 10 bolts better, 12 bolts. There we go. There it is, got it. Okay, and that's that. Now, let's try not to drop the clip in there. That would be good. Oh, let me grab a magnet. Right here. And now, yep, okay, got the clip. That's what that looks like. Hopefully I didn't destroy that, but I might have. I'll check it before I put it back in. And then gently, ever so gently, slide this out, and that's it. That's the axle shaft. I'll polish this overnight, and we'll see what it looks like. All right, I'm gonna do the other side, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, so I've tumbled the parts. I just used the Harbor Freight tumbler that you see here in the background, right there. I found I've used a lot of different fluids. Anything with VOCs swells up the lip gasket, so it's useless. What I found works best in that thing is simple white vinegar or industrial vinegar. Works great. Don't really have any issue using that, except for it's messy. It tends to evaporate and then seep out, but it works good. I mean, you saw how rusty these parts were when I put them in there. And now this is just simple citrus degreaser from Lowe's in the wash basin here. And next I'm going to clean these up, might give them a quick sandblast just to loosen up any other material that might be stuck on the surface. But you can see that tumbler makes it come out really nice. So now I'm just going to clean this up, wipe it all off good, sometimes it'll get some of the aggregate stuck in the holes. I got to dig those out. That happens all the time. But now these parts look like new, and I will take and put them in the, like I said, I'll probably just mask off the seal areas, stick them in the the media blaster for just a minute, just to, oh, this is not working good. Just to remove any other contaminants or paint or whatever. I don't even think GM painted these at all. All right. Let's put a hose clamp on this thing, I guess. Alright, and then the pinion yoke. So yeah, I'll sandblast these real quick, then run them through the powder coat process. I got a lot of media stuck in this one. Whoops. Yep, gonna have to hose clamp that. Alright. I keep two types of media in my unit. I got the small triangles and the big triangles. The small ones work great for threads, and the big ones kind of work better on larger surfaces. So I kind of find I used to use a combination. Not a big deal. Oh, I didn't realize that was balanced. There's a little weight stuck to it right there. Good to know. Okay. Then we'll get back to dealing with the housing. Okay, time to start putting this back together. I've got new seals for it. Everything's ready to go in. Just gonna take and tap this guy home. I've got a small piece of exhaust pipe here. Just gonna slowly work my way around this. It's going in nicely. All right, felt it bottom right out. Unfortunately, I forgot to put grease on the seal. Okay, now I'm just going to rub a little bit of grease around the inside edge of that seal so when the pinion first goes on, it has half a chance. Okay, that's good. Now I'll do the same thing on the two axle seals. Doesn't take much, just kind of giving them a head start until the rear end grease has its way with it. Yeah, there we go. All right, now this one, I got to find a slightly different sized driving apparatus. Okay, sounds like the weather's getting a little spicy out there. All right, so I'm just gonna slowly work this in. I don't have anything that fits it perfectly, but I have this piece of pipe that's very close. So I'm just gonna work my way around it. Slowly. These are very rugged seals because of that dust cover they have on here. And these seals are hard. You can't use a normal seal driver because it has this bubble on it. So, yeah, had to do the best I had with what I had. All right, so that's that. Now, I think the next thing to do is start working the axles back in. All right, so my axles were all done up. They look pretty good. Just got to peel the tape off them, I marked them left and right. I don't think it matters, really, but, you know, why not? Ugh. Okay, so okay, now let me just wipe this one off. Some extra tape in here still. So anyway, I marked these left and right to make sure they went back in the same way they came out. One thing I did find online last night, it said, at least the guy I was listening to basically said, you should have these clocked the same way. If you remember right, when I took this apart, these were off by 45 degrees. So I'm going to put them back in clocked as they're supposed to be, apparently. If it matters, it matters. If it doesn't, well, it doesn't. Okay. Now, let me see. Find my finest ring clip pliers that Chinese money can buy. Kicked right off. This is going to be a pain in the butt. You can tell already. Yeah. I ordered a new set of these pliers last night because I can't deal with this. These suck. Absolutely suck. This is a set where you can change the pincer on it to different styles, but they tend to just pop right off, so lovely. Just love them. All right, got those clips in. They just fought me every step of the way, but there really is no trick to them. If I had a better pair of pliers, I think they would have snapped right in easily, but I don't. So we'll take care of that. All right, next step, the pinion yoke. That right over here. Put a little bit of tape on this as well. Just got to peel that off. Got to tape off the seal surfaces whenever you do this sort of powder coat and this high temp tape. Although it stays nice, under temperature it comes off mean. But you don't want a little speck of that sitting in there under the seal, that's for sure. So we'll inspect that very carefully. All looks good. Okay, so now we'll put the pinion yoke back in. I'm just going to snug this up right now, and I'll torque it after I get everything back together. I don't think this is it. Maybe. Yeah, that's it. Okay, now, and I'm torquing this in. I just like to put a little bit of grease right here on this face so when the pinion nut's riding against it, it's not digging in. And as I mentioned before, I got a new pinion nut because, well, they say not to reuse those. I've reused them, I've never had a problem, but I don't want this to be the first time, right? Oh. I'm just gonna snug that up for now and I'll come back and Loctite it. The main reason I want to do this first is I just want to get some grease in it. I'm I'm going to flip it upside down now. Just put a little bit of grease to pre-lube it. Not going to fill it. This welding table works really nice for this particular style of rear end. Okay. Make sure my surface is nice and clean. Can't spin it because it's buried into a rag. Okay, get some grease. All right, so what do I got here? I think it's synthetic Valvoline. What is it? 80W90. Full synthetic. We'll give her some juice here. Like I said, I'm not looking to fill it. I'm just looking to get enough in there so when I put in the posi traction stuff, it's got something to mix with. Now here's the real reason you do it, because this stuff's kind of a pain. Okay. Didn't go too crazy with that nut either. Okay, so this says to add the whole thing. Limited slip additive, posi track. So, a lot easier to do it now than trying to pump it in underneath the car when you're all done. Stuff's thinner, that's for sure. Okay, liking that. Again, that's CRC Transex PosiTrack Limited Slip Oil Additive. Whew, okay. Now, let's put the bat wing on. Okay, you can go a couple routes with this. I've seen more than one occasion where everybody is saying that the factory just used RTV. I prefer a gasket. I don't want to do this again. So, and what I typically do in cases like this is I'll use high tack. This is a gasket sealant. Also works really good for holding your gasket in place, and it's kind of like a contact cement. You just smear a little on there. Do a little, little artistry. And typically this just goes right on nice. It doesn't fight you. I remember when I used to use this stuff, I thought it was kind of a bluish green color. So they've obviously changed it a little bit. Again, this Permatex High Tack is the brand. It works really good if you got to hold a gasket in place that's trying to fall on you or something, like a valve cover gasket. Works excellent for that. Anyway, the stuff never gets hard, supposedly. So it kind of supposed to be the cat's meow. Now it is a little stringy, gets a little stringy. I always used this when I was building racing motors and anywhere where I was worried about a gasket staying where it was supposed to be. All right, now I'm just gonna smear a little on here. Do up the gasket surface. Do my very best Bob Ross on this. Says apply to all surfaces. That's what we're doing. Okay. That should be qualified as a nice even coat on both sides. Make sure we got up is up. This is up. Can only really go one way, but I'd hate to set that on there and find out I had it wrong. Okay. And then we just line up the bolt holes. Actually, I'm going to grab a couple bolts just so that when I set it down, it's only going to get set once. Now, flip these up, put this on. Now, I took the bushings out of this bat wing. You want to talk about somebody struggling. Oh my God, that was brutal. I've seen a couple things, talking about these bushings here, out on the ends. Seen a couple things online. I'm replacing these with, what do you call it? Energy suspension brand. Problem is, you have to take out the metal section too. So there's rubber inside of a metal collar. You got to take the metal collar out to get these to fit. I've seen a couple of YouTube stars that are saying, no, just take them and do up the, just grind down the bushing and slide it in that. Just push the rubber out. Well, yeah, I'd rather not. So, but I know why they do it now, because that comes out mean. Really mean. Okay, here we go. All right, let me just break these free. They're stuck to my powder coating jig a little bit, which happens when you powder coat. All right. Now I'm gonna work these in. These are supposed to be torqued to 25 foot-pounds, and the bigger ones to like 30. The ones on the bottom that hold the lower control arms. All right. Let's see if we can't tweak these in a little bit. Make sure they all start. Whoa. I think I want to get those bigger bolts in there too, just to make sure they're lined up right. It's kind of weird, there's no pins or anything here, so you got a little bit of play. Let's see, where would that be? I think it's these. Yeah. Just gonna set them in there for right now while I kind of bring these down. Just gonna snug them up, then I'll get on them with a 6-point and a torque wrench. Oops. And I'm going to leave it in this position overnight to dry. I'll probably make it a little less precarious, but yeah, something like that. Okay, let me just grab this. All right. All right, now I'm going to go around one more time. There is a torque pattern to this. It's just alternating like a wheel. There we go. Now, I think what I'm going to do is dig out so much stuff. Yes. This, where's the other one? And this. All right, so these are the lower control arm brackets. That one says left. Okay. So, whoops, a little gooey. And then those go on like that. I believe these are the right bolts. There we go. And should be stamped right. And there it is, the R. Yeah, it goes on like this. Yeah, it uses this flange nut. Actually, I don't want to put those on yet. Crap. I'm just going to leave them on loose right now because I want to go through and give this thing a thorough cleaning. And then seal it with some clear coat of some sort. But I will just slap the nuts on there so I'll know where they are. Okay. And that's basically this put back together. Seals replaced. That's all I really did here. Just some cleaning. Seals on it. You can see I got a lot more cleaning to do on this. But ultimately I want to get it cleaned up nice so that I can get it brightened up and then seal it so it won't get these weird spots on it over time. So yeah, that's really where I'm headed with it. But yeah, that'll probably do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that. Again, just dealt with all the bushings and stuff. And this is the energy suspension bushing, and you can see it goes right in there pretty nice. But if you leave that collar in, forget it. You will be hating life. But that snaps right in like it's supposed to. I've seen guys online where they took and just turned this shoulder down so that they didn't have to take that sleeve out, the bushing sleeve. Well, I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna do it the way it was designed, and that is the way it was designed. And then you just put these two guys in. Now you never want to grease these. You grease the bolt, but you don't want to grease between the bushing and the shaft. You want to leave that up so that it only wants to spin on the bolt. You don't want the bushing spinning in the polyurethane. That would be bad. There we go. And of course I got the high tack all over me. This wouldn't be a normal day at the garage. All right, I think that's going to be about it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. This is a new rear end for me. I've never worked on a Dana 36. I still need to torque the front pinion nut, but I'm not going to do that until I can put it all back down, and I got to make a special arm to do it. Little leveraged rigging, and I'll show you how to do that. Then I'm going to clean this, polish it out, get it ready to go, put it on a jig, and start building it back up. Yeah, this is, again, a 1989 C4 Dana 36 from a 1989 Corvette. So if you're keeping score, that's where we're at. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. I think that's gonna leave the, gonna do the thing right there. See, you can see those brackets in the back there. That's where those go. So anyway, have a good week.